The first spreadsheet is a compliance review form, which pertains to the employer information. And the first part of this form is typical company information: name, address, city, state, zip, phone, fax, type of business, employer TIN or EIN, the SIC code, contact name, email, and comments. In the comments section, you'll be using this field to explain anything that might not be included in the first part of this form. And if you need to explain anything that will need to be explained, that will go in the other employee form that we'll see a little bit later. You'll indicate here if it's part of a control group or not by indicating yes or no. Here you indicate if a particular company is the authoritative transmittal. As you can see, there are several columns here for each company or division that might exist. If there's several EINs, that'll mean that there will be one company that will have to be chosen to be the authoritative transmittal, under which all the other companies, all the other EINs will be filed under. Here you indicate the number of active employees for each company, the number of terminated employees from January 1st to the current month. The hour requirement is the minimum amount of hours to consider an employee full-time. The waiting period will be the time that a person has to be working before being eligible for coverage. Here you'll enter the number of days or months for coverage to begin. You have the different options there. The coverage effective date, you'll have two codes there. Code 1 for the coverage that begins immediately after the waiting period, or enter code 2 if the coverage begins the first of the following month of the waiting period. The plan type is a description of the plan that is available for the employees, and the plan renewal date also refers to the plan there. Now, if there's more than one plan per EIN, what you can do is you select these two lines, copy them, and then insert them here, and just enter the information for the other plan and its renewal date. Of course, you can put as many lines as you will need in order to give a description of each one of the plans offered. Now, here you'll have to indicate if the plan meets the minimum value, which means that if it's ACA or Affordable Care Act compliant, you indicate here by a yes or no. Minimum value testing required if it's required, but most likely will not be required because your broker would have already offered you or sold you a plan that is compliant with the ACA. Does it meet affordability? Again, your broker would have already checked that for you. Most likely it'll be yes. If it's not, you will not be compliant. And that'll refer to the amount paid by the contribution not exceeding 9.5% of the household income. Is there a testing for affordability required? Yes or no? Normally, it'll be no. Affordability safe harbor. This is to determine if your plan is, or the contributions for the plan are affordable. So you may use the rate of pay, which is the self-only contribution that does not exceed 9.5% of the rate of pay on the first day of coverage. The W-2 that from the previous year that you can use in order to determine again that based on the information on box 1, the contribution does not exceed 9.5% of that number. And the FPL, which is a federal poverty level, that also the self-contribution does not exceed 9.5% of that amount. The lowest cost employee only premium is the premium for the lowest or the least expensive employee-only coverage that is offered to employees in the company. This is not the amount that the employees actually paid for the coverage they chose. This is the minimum available. So it'll be only one number, a dollar amount here. And again, that'll be the amount that will go in for each one employee because the IRS just wants to know that that coverage was available for that price. Funding, if you are fully insured, self-insured, or a combination of both. If spouse coverage is offered, yes or no. And if dependent coverage was offered, yes or no. The same information has to be filled for additional EINs if they are present. And this is, in summary, what the compliant review form is. Now, let's go to the following form, which is the data request form, which pertains to employee information. The first part is self-explanatory. Social Security number, last name, first name, and so on, zip code. The country code is for those employees that are working out of the country. And in those cases, there will also be a foreign postal code for those cases. Job status, if the person is full-time, part-time, variable hour, a seasonal employee, or not an employee at all. Like, for example, when the ex-employee is under COBRA or so. Employee status, if the employee is active, inactive, is on leave, or other situations. If he has not met COBRA, is COBRA not medical eligible? That means that he's under COBRA but has not reached the 65 years of age, and something similar for retirees. Union flag is if your company has unions, you will indicate here either by name or description each of the unions of which each employee is part of. And this will be described in the comment section that we mentioned earlier in the compliance review spreadsheet. Date of hire, termination date, division, and here you will indicate which division or company the employee works for. Now, in the compliance review spreadsheet, there were several columns for each company or division, and this will be indicated here. You either put the name of the company, or you can put company 1, company 2, company 3, whichever the employee works for that corresponds to the companies on the compliance review. The plan ID is a plan ID that the employee actually chose. The rate of pay, how much the employee is making either a salary per year or per hour. The insurance effective date is the insurance that the coverage started for that particular employee. It can be, again, after the waiting period, or if the coverage started the previous year, the date that you will enter here is January 1st, 2015. The insurance end date is the date in which the insurance finishes for whatever reason. The employee quit, or was termed, or he was deceased, or whatever other situation that made the insurance end. The COBRA start date. The COBRA start date is a little tricky because since the employee has 60 days to elect COBRA, they might elect it by the end of that period. So once they elect it, you will have to put the date in which COBRA retroactively started, which will be the day after termination. So whenever the employee decides to take COBRA, you'll put the day after termination here in the COBRA start date, but you don't have to go back and put that information in the previous months. You just have to put it for whatever month they elected. The COBRA end date will be the day in which COBRA ends for that particular employee. The eligible for coverage with no offer given refers to for whatever reason, you did not offer coverage to that particular employee. For this year, you only have to offer coverage to 70% of the eligible employees. So for those that you did not offer coverage for whatever reason, you'll have to indicate here whom did you not offer coverage to. And the waived insurance coverage is if the employee waived the coverage for whatever reason. They're under the spouse's insurance that works for another company, or they're going through the exchange, or whatever the case may be, really doesn't matter in this case. We just need to know if they waived it. And that is this data request form. And now we'll go to the last form, which is the dependent data template. And this only is for companies that are self-insured. If your company is fully insured, the insurance company will take care of that for you and refer the appropriate information to the IRS. But those that are fully insured, you will have to fill the dependents information for each employee in the sheet. As you can see, the first column is the employee Social Security number, then the Social Security number of a particular dependent, and that dependent's information. For each additional dependent, you just go to the next line. And our system, once this information is fed to it, will match each employee with their dependents based on the employee's Social Security number. And that is it for this form. Now, remember, we have a deadline to receive all these spreadsheets. That's fast approaching. So it is in best interest to get these sheets to us as soon as possible in order to have enough time to manage them, to compile them, and to upload them to the system as soon as possible in order to have everything done in a timely fashion. And if you have any additional questions, you may reach up to me. My name again is Sandro Vivas, or you might reach also to Ben Davis, and at the phone number 954-983-9970, or to the email info@div125.com. Thank you very much for attending this training, and have a great day.